What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the fourth episode of the Primetime Sports Podcast with Joey Mailari. This morning, I'm going to be doing a college baseball special. I will start off by recapping the CAA baseball tournament, break down each game that the Northeastern played in, and then after that, I'm going to dive into the NCAA baseball tournament bracket and give my picks for the winner of each regional bracket, which starts today, and tell you who I see ending up in Omaha at the end. So to start off, Northeastern based on the CAA Tournament, which took place at Elon's campus in North Carolina, Latham Park, last weekend. Northeastern opened up with a huge victory over William & Mary. Wyatt Scotty, who I predicted on, I think it was my second episode, I predicted he would be on the mound, and he was superb. Or I think it was my first episode, actually. He was superb on the mound. He improved to 8-3 on the year in that game. Went 7 innings, giving up just 3 hits, along with just 2 runs while walking 1 and striking out 1. Owen Langan and Jordy Allard were perfect out of the bullpen, pitching an inning each in relief, allowing no base runners for either one of them. And then Jordy picked up actually his first save of the season, a 7-pitch, 9th inning, got a strikeout as well. So he came in, closed the doors huge for Northeastern to start hard in the CAA tournament. Northeastern was down 2-0 in the 3rd inning, actually, when J.P. Elson came up to the plate, doubled down the left field line, and then scored Jeff Costello, got Northeastern on the board 2-1. Danny Crossan, who will be playing for Cotuit in the Cape Cod Baseball League this summer, came up to the plate and hit a huge 2-run home run to deep center field to give Northeastern a 3-2 lead in the 4th. Then Corey DiLoretto was 1 of 4 in the opener with a single, and Spencer Smith was sensational at shortstop in Game 1. Had 2 putouts and 9 assists, made all 11 plays that were hit at him. He was just great out there. He had such a great tournament, and I'll go on to say more about his play in the CAA tournament in a little bit. So then Northeastern ended up facing the number 1 seed in the Charleston Cougars. Northeastern defeated them 6-5 in another close game. The pitching was elite yet again. The Huskies actually never trailed the Cougars in this game. Cam Schlittler went 7 innings on the mound, allowing only 2 runs, giving up 4 hits, while walking 2 and striking out 9. Had such a great game. Northeastern really needed it. And then Owen Langan and Jordy Allard came in relief yet again to relieve Schlittler this time instead of Scotty. But this time they weren't as smooth as they were before. They allowed 3 runs in 2 innings. Ended up still getting the win, so all's well that ends well. But Allard picked up a 2nd save of the season, actually, 2 in 2 straight days, which was great for him. And then freshman Luke Mazik had such a great game, got the score going for the Huskies in the 2nd inning with a 2-run RBI hit. Jeff Costello got up to the plate with bases loaded, drew a walk. And then in the 5th inning, J.P. Olson scored an error by Cam Dean, the Charleston Cougars shortstop, who actually had 3 errors in the game, had a tough game. J.P. Olson reached an error in the 6th. Yet again, Cam Dean with the error. And then Olson went on to steal second base. Olson had a great season stealing-wise. Not many catches in college baseball could hit and steal bases, and Olson could do both. Also played left field in one of the games in the tournament. So very versatile and very versatile athlete and catcher. And Northeastern baseball, I'm sure, is very appreciative of that. Anyways, so then Spencer Smith finished the game 2 for 3 with a walk and scored 2 runs. Also stole a base. Jeff Costello, who had a sac RBI fly in the 6th inning, went 2 for 3 in the game with 2 RBIs, drew a walk and stole a base as well. So then the tough part was Northeastern went out to face the number 3 seed in Hofstra in the final game of the winners bracket. Ended up losing the game in extra innings. Very tough game. Started off hot, though. Corey DiLoretto began the game with a great double to right center field. He was down 1-2 in the count, stayed very patient, stayed confident, went with a pitch, drilled it. Huge hit for him. And then J.P. Elson ended up hitting him in with a ground out, RBI ground out, getting DiLoretto across the plate, give Northeastern a 1-run lead. Sophomore Eric Yo struggled in the 1st inning, though, allowing a 2-run home run to Hofstra right fielder Brian Morrell. And then Hofstra DH, Jake Liberatore, smoked a 3-run shot to put Hofstra up 5-1 in the 1st. Most teams have faded away, though, at this moment and give up. But not this Huskies team. They battled back like we knew they would. Justin Bosland led off the 2nd inning with a double. He started off 2 innings, actually, in this game with leadoff hits, trying to get the Huskies offense going. So in the 2nd inning, he led off with a double, then scored in a Luke Mazik single. Mazik went on to steal second. Northeastern likes to play their small ball, as I pointed out in my first episode. And then Spencer Smith followed it up with an RBI single to score Mazik, making the score 5-3 after 2 innings. So Northeastern cut the deficit down, which was huge. Eric Yost calmed down on the mound, allowing 2 hits in his last 2 innings on the mound. But he had a tough day there. He's usually a lot more crisp on the mound, but it's a CAA tournament. Everyone's got to really stretch on their pitching, and even though he had a tough first inning, Northeastern needed him to go a couple more innings just to let the bullpen rest for when they needed it in close games at the end of games in the tournament. But Yost calmed down, pitched well at the end, so he finished strong at least. Justin Bosland yet again led off the 4th inning with a single. Then went up to steal second base. Second baseman Luke Beckstein came up to the plate, singled Bosland in from third. Moved Bosland to third, and then Spencer Smith singled to score Bosland, cut the Hofstra lead to 1. Northeastern's deficit was only 1 at this point, down 5-4 to Hofstra. Then in the 6th, third baseman Buddy Maroka singled to left field before Luke Mazik smoked a towering home run to left field. Luke Mazik had a great CAA tournament, giving the Huskies a 6-5 lead after trailing 5-1. So Northeastern came back, down 5-1, leading 6-5. All really looked well at this point. And then Nick Davis came in relief for Eric Yost on the mound. He went 3 innings, surrendering 2 runs. Owen Langen, pitching in his 3rd straight day, came in to relieve Davis in the 7th after Davis hit a batter and gave up a bunt single. Langen came into a tough situation. Runners on first and second, no outs. Never easy to be a relief pitcher in that situation. Hofstra ended up getting 2 RBI sac flies against Langen and then took a 7-6 lead. So Northeastern's down 7-6 going into the top of the 9th. And Jeff Costello, he'll be the story of the 9th inning in a couple of these games. Jeff Costello, the senior right fielder, came up to the plate, led off the inning with a crucial and clutch double down the left field line. On the first pitch he faced, hopped right on it, started hot. Corey DiLoretto came up to the plate, had a very productive out, moving Costello over to third base on a ground out. So Northeastern's down 1 run with 1 out. J.P. Elson coming up to the plate with Jeff Costello on third. J.P. Elson has an 0-2 count. Facing him, has an RBI single up the middle, scoring Costello and giving Northeastern the 6th run to tie the game 6-6, or 7-7, which was huge, getting Northeastern tied to send it to the bottom of the 9th. Jordy Allard came in for the 3rd straight day, just like Langen, allowing 1 hit in walking a batter, but striking out 1. Got out of the jam in the bottom of the 9th. In the 10th inning, Brad Camato came out for Hofstra. Actually was the CAA player of the tournament, MVP of the CAA baseball tournament. Brad Camato came in for the 10th inning, 3 up, 3 down. He pitched well. Then in the bottom of the 10th, Hofstra led off with a double. After that, Liberatore tried to get the runner over to third base, but was unsuccessful with a bunt. So 1 out. Hofstra has a guy on second. I thought maybe walk Santino Rosso, make it first and second, so you have a chance at a double play to get out of the inning. Also, Santino Rosso was very hot in the CAA tournament, so I wouldn't have wanted to pitch to him. Northeastern opted to pitch to him, which I get to. You got to battle. But Santino Rosso ended up hitting a double down the right field line to walk it off for Hofstra. So then Northeastern had to respond quickly. This was a tough situation. If you lose in the CAA tournament in that finals of the winners bracket, you end up playing just an hour later in the finals of the losers bracket. So Northeastern got a chance to stay alive an hour later against the number 1 seed Charleston again, and they ended up defeating them once again with Sebastian Keane on the mound this time. The hard thing about losing though in the finals of the winners bracket is that after losing that game at 11 a.m. to Hofstra, you have to face Charleston at 3 p.m. In the final game of the losers bracket, and then after defeating Charleston, which Northeastern did, you have to beat Hofstra twice on Sunday in order to win the CAA tournament, since it's double elimination. And Hofstra had not yet lost, so that's why you have to beat them twice in the final game of in the finals, that is. But tough for Northeastern losing that game to Hofstra. I feel like it would be a much different tournament had they won that game against Hofstra in the final game of the winners bracket. They would have had just a chance to win one of 2 games on Sunday to send themselves to the CAA, to win the CAA tournament, to send themselves to the NCAA bracket, get an automatic bid. But it's just not how the ball rolled, unfortunately. But anyways, in that game against Charleston, the second game facing Charleston in the CAA tournament, Jeff Costello got the scoring going with 2 outs for the Huskies. It had a bases clearing double in the second inning to score Luke Beckstein, Justin Boslin, and Buddy Maroka. 2 out, 3 RBI double. Costello continued to come up big in the tournament. Next batter up was a slugger, Corey DiLoretto. Came up to the plate and hammered a 2-run home run to deep center field. Absolute no doubter. 5-0 Huskies after 2. Very happy for Corey and Jeff Costello. Both came up big in this game when Northeastern's backs were against the wall to give themselves a chance to make it to the finals. Northeastern tallied on another run in the 6th inning with a Teddy Bidet. He's another senior. Had an RBI single to hit Justin Boslin in. Boslin actually got hit by 2 pitches in the game, was moved up from first to second base in the 6th inning on a Buddy Maroka single before Bidet hit him in on an RBI single that I just talked about. Bidet, Costello, and DiLoretto all were huge in this game for the Huskies. All 3 seniors were doing big things, putting in damage for on the Cougars for the Huskies. And I already talked about Owen Langan. He was the other senior. He pitched really well in the first couple games in the CAA tournament. So all 4 seniors contributed in the CAA tournament, which was huge. Very nice thing to see. Very nice to see all of them getting playing time and get a chance to give Northeastern another shot at the NCAA tournament. Anyways, Sebastian Keene finished the game, 5 innings on the mound, allowing 7 hits, just 3 runs though, walked 5 batters. Control has been tough for him of late this season, but he still came out, put up a huge game to give the Huskies a chance in the finals. And then Thomas Balboni on the 2-out save for his 7th save of the year off 6 pitches in the 9th inning, which was huge. So then Northeastern went on Sunday to face Hofstra in the finals, which was definitely a tough game. The Huskies did what they did all season. They battled, fought to the last second, and were resilient in the finals. There's no denying that. Just 4 days after throwing 90 pitches in 7 innings against William and Mary, Wyatt Scarty got the start on the mound again for the Huskies in the finals against Hofstra. Gave up 2 homers in his first 2 batters faced in the game. Back-to-back home runs for the 1 and 2 batters of Hofstra. Very tough start for Northeastern. They'll end up battling back, though, as we knew they would. Brian Morrell and Santino Rosso exchanged doubles to score Morrell to make it a 3-0 game after Scotty hit a Hofstra Pride batter. Jake Gigliotti came out of the pen to relieve Scotty. Very tough situation to come out of the pen onto the mound, too. Runners on second and third, 2 outs. He got a ground out to Maroka at third to end the innings, which was huge for the Huskies to limit the damage to 3-0. Northeast ended up getting a huge rebound of a 5th inning, scoring 3 runs to make it a 3-3 ball game. This is how it happened. Beckstein led off the 5th inning with a double. Maroka ended up walking after that, and then Spencer Smith doubled to left center, scoring Beckstein. Costello came up to the plate to make it bases loaded after he walked. For DiLoretto. DiLoretto coming to the plate, bases loaded. He ended up walking. RBI walk for DiLoretto, scoring a run. And then Ellison ended up flying out to right field for a sac fly to score Spencer Smith from third base, make it a 3-3 ball game. In the 6th inning, Santino Rosso continued to be a problem for the Huskies, tripling down the right field line. Ended up scoring on a Ryan Marash single. Brian Morrell continued to be another huge problem for the Huskies, singling to score Morash and make it a 5-3 Hofstra lead. In the 7th inning, the Huskies responded, though, as they always do, as we knew they would. Luke Mazik came up clutch yet again, stayed hot, and doubled to left field. Spencer Smith, who might have been the best hitter average-wise on the Northeastern team in the CAA tournament, moved him over with a ground out. And then Corey DiLoretto came up to the plate with 2 outs, and Luke Mazik at third base. Ended up doubling to left center field. Huge for him, scoring Mazik, cutting the Hofstra lead to 1. Very happy for Corey. Huge hit, such a big situation yet again. But with Hofstra only having a 1-run lead, they ended up tallying on. Scott Harrington of Hofstra hit a home run off Gigliotti, making a 6-4 ball game going into the 8th inning. And the Huskies stranded Danny Crossan after he had a leadoff single in the 8th, which was tough. Going into the 9th inning, Huskies trailing 6-4. They trailed Hofstra originally in that final game of the winners bracket just a day before, 7-6, going into the 9th inning. And Costello came up big, ended up tying up that game. So this game down 6-4 going into the 9th. I wasn't too worried. I thought they could tie it yet again. In this game, this time, Spencer Smith earned a walk with 1 out. Costello came up yet again, big situation. Huskies trailing in the 9th inning. Had another huge hit, a single, put runners on first and second, 1 out, and the Huskies down 2 for Corey DiLoretto. DiLoretto smoked a ball up the middle, deflected off the pitcher's mound, played to Northeastern's advantage, rolled into the outfield. Northeastern ended up getting an RBI single off of it, advanced Costello to third. So first and third, 1 out. JP also coming up to the plate yet again, came up in such big situations in the CAA tournament, came up clutch in just about every one of them. So first and third, 1 out. He doubled to score Costello, huge hit. Max Riera was held up at third, which I maybe would have sent him. Would have been a close play at the plate, but considering we ended up losing the game, it would have been a bad thing to send him just to try to get a run out of it. Anyways, so Vieira was held up at third. Olsen was at first base. Both ended up getting stranded on first and third. But the Huskies offense used their late inning magic yet again to tie another game. Thomas Balboni returned to the mound, got himself in a jam though. This time couldn't get himself out of it. Ended up hitting a batter to send Hofstra home with a win, a CAA Finals win, their first actually ever. Hit the Hofstra batter inside on the elbow. Very tough play, heartbreaking way to lose this game, especially on a walk-off hit batter. But I'll say this, I'm very proud of this Northeastern team. They gave it their all. It was a pleasure being able to go to as many games as I did and watch them play. They have nothing to be ashamed of at the end of the day. They fought very hard in both games against Hofstra, came back in the ninth inning twice, very hard to do, and found themselves in holes multiple times. And dug themselves out to give themselves a chance to win. So I'm very proud of how the boys fought, and I'm looking forward to next season. So in this game against Hofstra, Corey DiLoretto finished the game 2 of 4 with 3 RBIs, also drew a walk as well. So he reached base 3 of 5 plate appearances. Which if this were to be his last game as a Husky, I know he's 1 year after eligibility, he finished on a great note, driving in 3 runs, especially considering the fact that Northeastern only had 6 runs. Game ended 7-6. He came in and came up huge for the Huskies every time he stepped up to the plate in this game. So drove in 3 of 6 runs for the Huskies. Spencer Smith had another good game, finished 2 of 3 with an RBI, also scored 2 runs. And then Jeff Costello was 1 of 3, drew 2 walks, reached base 3 of 5 times, just like DiLoretto. And then Luke Beckstein was 2 of 4 at the plate. Jay Gigliotti was great in relief, no complaints there. His job was just to keep the Huskies in the game, and he did just that and more. Went 6 1/3 innings, allowing 8 hits, 3 runs, walked a batter, struck out 6, threw 88 pitches, his most pitches and most innings in an appearance this year. So he'll probably play a bigger role in the bullpen next year, I'd imagine. And then Nick Davis pitched in the 8th, went an inning, got a strikeout, allowed a hit, got out of it. Brad Camato was the tournament MVP, as I said. Pitched 7 innings for Hofstra in the finals game off short rest. Walked 5 batters, struck out 4 guys on the Huskies, and allowed 4 runs off 7 hits. Threw 118 pitches after already pitching the CAA tournament. So showed he emptied the tank to try to give his team a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. So credit to them. Congratulations to Hofstra. Northeastern had Spencer Smith, Cam Schlittler, and J.P. Elson all named to the all-tournament team, so congratulations to them. Also a 6 of 21 in the tournament, hitting .286, drove in 6 runs, batted batted at least 1 run-in 4 or 5 games in the tournament. Very clutch hitter for the Huskies. Also stole 4 bases in 4 attempts in the tournament. At 14 stolen bases on the year. So like I said earlier, not many catchers can hit .286 and steal 4 bases, but also can do just that and more. Spencer Smith was unreal on the field defensively. Had 27 chances defensively at shortstop in the CAA tournament and made all 27 plays. So he was stellar out there. And also in the 5 tournament games, he was 6 of 17, hitting .352, scored 4 runs, hit 3 guys in, and also stole a base. So no complaints with Spencer Smith's performance in the CAA tournament. And then in 5 games, Buddy Maroka reached base in 8 of 19 at-bats, was 3 of 14 at-bats wise, but in 8 of 19 plate appearances, he reached base, drew 5 walks. So Maroka came up big in Vieira's absence. In 5 games, as I said, getting on base 8 of 19 times, that's great. In the last 3 games of the tournament, Corey DiLoretto was 4 of 13, hit in 5 Huskies, so drove in 5 runs, scored 2 runs, had a double and a home run. And if that were to be it for Corey's career, since I know he has 1 year of eligibility left, like I said, it was one hell of a career, and it was an honor being able to go to games and sit with Coach Rob DiLoretto of Everett High Football and watch Corey play. Corey embodies everything you want in a veteran player, as he gives everything he has in every single play. Despite battling a torn ligament in his thumb, most people would call it a season, but not Corey. He fought back, worked hard to get back on the field in DH for the Huskies in the end of the season. Losing his fielding, though, was tough for the Huskies, considering he was such a sound fielder all year. He had a 100 fielding percentage, so made 100% of the plays that he was involved in. 37 of 37 plays were made by him in the field, so it's tough to lose his glove out there. But his bat was needed heavily in the lineup, especially with Mike Sirota missing games as well. Corey's grit and toughness, though, is something that is unteachable, and I'm sure he is destined for great things no matter what he chooses to do in the future, whether he plays 1 year, 1 extra year at Northeastern or doesn't. He played in 9 fingers at the end of the season and still had exceptionally clutch at-bats, especially when it mattered most, including a monster 3 RBI game in the CAA Finals against Hofstra. So Corey can't complain with how great a season he had. I can't complain. Played very well. Corey finished the season hitting .259, which is tied for 4th on the team with Costello in batting average. DiLoretto was hitting .292, though, before April 10th, the day he got hurt, making a fantastic play, putting his body on the line on a diving catch in left field against Elon. Made a SportsCenter type of catch, fully extended on his stomach. Ended up tearing the ligament in his thumb on that play. But he's hit .292 before the injury. Hit 3 home runs, which was second on the team, and drove in 30 batters, 30 runs, which was second as well on the team behind Costello for first. And then was third on the team with total bases, and also had a .353 on-base percentage, which was third on the team as well. So Corey, very versatile player. He also stole 4 bases. That's something else you got to note. The kid hustled every single play, and that's why it was an honor, like I said, being able to go to NU games to see him and the Huskies squad play. I truly look forward to every single weekend at Freedom and Diamond. I can't wait to see the Huskies play next year there. I really loved walking down Com Ave from my dorm at BC and going to see Northeastern play on a beautiful sunny day, see a very quality baseball game, get to talk to Rob DiLoretto. It was always a pleasure and an honor. Thank you so much, Coach, for always letting me sit with you and talk baseball, talk sports in general. I really do appreciate it. Those are days I'm going to cherish, Northeastern baseball games. Since sitting out in the sun, watching a baseball game, there's nothing better than that. Since I love baseball so much, love Northeastern baseball, love Northeastern sports in general. So thank you, Coach. Couple things I want to highlight. Some clutch performances for Corey DiLoretto against NC State. He was 4 of 13 in that series with a .308 batting average. Hit 4 runs in, and also had a monster home run in Game 3 of the series. He had hit in 5 of 6 games versus NC State and Clemson this year. And then Corey's best game of the year came against Hofstra on May 6th at Hofstra. He was 4 for 5 in that game, 3 runs scored, 3 runs batted in, 2 doubles and a home run. Home run in the first inning, actually, to get the Huskies going. He was a machine out there. Just wanted to highlight a couple big performances for him, especially if this were to be the last game of his career. I just love to highlight how great of a season he had this year for the Huskies, even battling the injury that he battled. Jeff Costello had a hit in each of his last 4 games as a Husky. He hit .294 in the CAA tournament, 5 runs batted in, 4 runs scored, also stole a base. And then senior catcher and veteran Teddy Baudet finished his Huskies career with at least 1 hit in 5 of his last 7 games. 6 of 16 at the plate, hit .375 over that stretch. Also scored 3 runs batted in as well. Had a huge RBI against Charleston in an elimination game in the tournament. Ended the season with a .274 batting average. He played very well in the games he played in. Then senior reliever Owen Langen had a scoreless stretch of 13 in the 3rd innings from April 26th to May 20th. That was 7 appearances in that time frame. Finished the year with a 3.13 ERA, a .88 WHIP. Costello, Baudet, DiLoretto, Langen all left a massive mark on the Northeastern program and contributed in each and every way possible in every single game they played in and suited up in the red and black Husky uniforms. For Baudet, he was at NU for 6 seasons and was a leader on the field and off the field and in the locker room. I'm sure his veteran presence and energy will be missed in Northeastern. Costello was a Husky for 5 seasons and was on 2 teams with DiLoretto and Baudet that went to the NCAA Tournament, which is such a great accomplishment. And then Langen and DiLoretto, both are redshirt juniors this season, and have the opportunity to come back for another season if they want to do so. All 4 seniors, though, represent everything a coach like Mike Glavin would want on their team. Veterans that were resilient, always battled, gave it their all. Tried every single game. Even if Northeastern was down in the game, they still battled. Never put their heads down and quit. And that's what I love from a team. I'm an LA Clippers fan as I am a Celtics fan, but the Clippers, they fight every single game. Even if they're down 35, they'll give it their all to the last second, till that last whistle. And Northeastern baseball as well. I mean, down 2 times in the 9th inning in the CAA tournament and just didn't give up. 2 times in the CAA tournament, down to the last 3 outs, and came back to battle yet again every single game. So for these vets, though, these 4 seniors, I wish them all nothing but the best in their future endeavors and whatever they choose to do. Overall, in the NCAA tournament, Northeastern went 3-2 with 2 losses in the bottom of the 9th and the bottom of the 10th to Hofstra after battling back, as I said multiple times now, in the 9th inning to tie the game. I'm very proud of how hard this team fought. They gave it their all every single game. A very resilient group who has a lot to look forward to in the coming seasons. Mike Glavin, a very polished coach, has his team always play very sound defensively, play the game the right way, play small ball, never really talk back, which I really like. So I'm sure this team will be great next year. Northeastern finished the season 31-29-1. The future of NU baseball, which I'm going to highlight a couple notes real quick. With Mike Sirota, this lineup is so much more explosive, and I'm sure Mike Glavin and company would have loved to have him healthy for the CAA tournament because he's such an extremely talented player and has all the skills needed to be a star in any team he were to play on. He's only 18 and lit up college baseball. He'll be playing for Brewster in the Cape Cod Baseball League this summer. He led the team in batting average, hitting .326, was first on the team with a .922 OPS, hit 4 home runs, which is also first on the team, had 20 RBIs, 14 doubles, which was tied for first on the team with Jeff Costello. Also stole 10 bags in 37 games, was second on the team with 72 total bases. Remember, all these numbers I'm saying right now are only in the 37 games he played. He missed 24 games and put up such dominant numbers and led Northeastern in so many categories. So just imagine what his numbers would have been had he been healthy for all 61 games or 55 games for Northeastern this year. I want to highlight one big performance for him. In the series against NC State, he was 5 of 13 at the plate, scoring 3 runs, had 2 doubles, 4 RBIs, also stole third base in that game, in game 1 against NC State, he was 3 of 3 with 2 doubles, walked twice, and scored 2 runs, had a stolen base. That's a game he stole third base, which was very impressive. He has really great speed. And also robbed a home run in that game. It just shows how talented a player he is. Reaching base 5 of 5 times against number 8 team in the country on the Friday opening game of the series against the number 8 team in the country, NC State. Just shows how great a player he is. He'd hit in 32 of 37 games, this year, and also had a 98.7% fielding percentage. Only had 1 error. So not only can he hit for power and contact, he has speed, great defensively. And then also has a great arm. He has all 5 tools that you need in a star player. I'm really excited to see what Northeastern baseball does in the future. And just want to say one last time to the 4 Northeastern seniors and the 2 of them in DiLoretto and Langen, no matter what they were to choose to do. I'm sure all 4 of those guys are destined for great things in the future. And it truly was an honor being able to see you guys play in the Huskies uniforms. And I'm really looking forward to see Sirota, Bosland, Mazik, 3 freshmen that had great seasons, all continue their great performances from this year and next season for the Huskies. So moving on to some big news within the world of college baseball. Freshman phenom, first baseman from NC State, Tommy White, just entered the transfer portal after a historic season, setting the record for the most home runs by a freshman in 55 games this season. He scored 54 runs, hitting 27 home runs, so just a home run just about every other game. 74 runs batted in, 362 batting average with a 1.182 OPS. I'm sure the Wolfpack are disappointed to see him enter the transfer portal, considering how prolific of a player he was this year for them. NC State, in my opinion, though, was snubbed by the College Baseball Selection Committee. They finished the season 36-21 and lost in the ACC Tournament Finals to UNC. Beat UNC, beat Miami in the ACC Tournament, who's the number 6 overall seed in the NCAA bracket. I think NC State was snubbed personally from the NCAA Tournament. Would have liked to see them get in, but it is what it is. I'm excited to see where Tommy White ends up going. I'm sure any team will be lucky to have him, considering how much power he has and how he can hit for both power and for contact. He's very impressive. I'm excited to see where he ends up. Anyways, one game I want to highlight from the Pac-12 tournament, UCLA-Oregon State, one of the craziest college or professional baseball games you'll ever see. Ended up being a final score of 25-22, which is nuts. Tommy Barris had 7 RBIs from the 7th to the 10th inning and had the walk-off home run, 3-run walk-off home run to win the game 25-22 for UCLA. In that game, there was combined 47 runs, 53 combined hits. Oregon State blew a 9-run lead in the 9th inning to let UCLA tie it. UCLA scored 9 runs in the 9th inning on just 4 hits, drew 3 walks in the bottom of the 9th. Oregon State also had an error as well, so they just were not playing crisp baseball, walking 3 guys, having an error. And then Oregon State also surrendered a run to tie the game again off a balk. Complete meltdown of a game for them. And I saw in a New York Post article that there were over 8,000 Division I baseball games this year, and that game between UCLA and Oregon State had the most combined runs of any, 47 runs, which is nuts. I guess it's kind of like Big 12 football, no defense, no pitching in that game, just all offense, scoring touchdowns and hitting home runs, like Big 12 football. So moving on now to the NCAA tournament, I'm going to give my bracket predictions for the college baseball tournament. Today's the opening round of the 16 regionals. June 3rd, which is today, to the 6th is the first round. Double elimination, as is every round of the bracket. So just to start, I'm going to break down each regional matchup, give you my 8 picks also for who I see going to Omaha. Omaha is the home. It has been the home of the College World Series since 1950. So I'll predict my 8 teams who I see going there, who I end up seeing also win the College Baseball World Series. Anyways, so to start off, the Knoxville Regional, I got Tennessee winning that. I think everyone does. You'd be crazy to be betting against them. They're so stacked. It's nuts how good of a team they are. Absolute powerhouse at the plate, on the mound. They're just such a good team. First guy I want to highlight is reliever Ben Joyce, which you've probably seen on Twitter or Instagram before if you follow any college baseball accounts. He had 105 miles per hour out of the bullpen and had a 2.51 ERA in 25 appearances this year. It just shows how much firepower this team has, having a guy come out of the bullpen throwing 105 miles an hour, which is nuts. Anyways, next guy I want to highlight, junior outfielder Drew Gilbert, projected first-round pick, great glove, 64 plays made, and also hit 348. Has a 1.061 OPS, drove in 31 runs, and also has a 445 on-base percentage. So very good year for him. Another guy I want to highlight, another projected first-round pick, in one mock I saw on MLB.com is outfielder Jordan Beck for Tennessee. For the Vols, he had just 248 this year, but hit 8 home runs, tons of power, and as I said, a projected first-round pick. So very prolific lineup and stacked lineup for this Tennessee team. One guy I want to highlight at the mound is freshman pitcher Drew Beam. He's pitched stellar all year. 3.1 ERA, 38 strikeouts to just 7 walks and 52 innings pitched. 7 walks and 52 innings pitched is very impressive. The strikeouts, 38 and 52, isn't bad. But the walks is what's most impressive in that stat. Only 7 walks and 52 innings. Another freshman pitcher I want to highlight, which just shows how stacked of a freshman class they had, considering they drew Beam, and also have Chase Burns, another freshman pitcher. Hit a 3.4 ERA on the mound this year, was elite all season long. In 47 2/3 innings, had a 63 strikeout to 15 walk ratio. 63 to 15, very great. And they had great pitching overall. They had a team ERA of 2.35, which was number one in Division I baseball. Also held the 3.08 team batting average, which was 16th in college baseball, and also held oppositions to a 1.93 batting average. So it just shows how dominant of a team this Tennessee team is. They also hit the most home runs in NCAA baseball with 141. We're number 2 in Division I baseball with 561 runs scored, and also drew the second most walks in D1 baseball with 358 walks. As for pitching, a couple stats that are impressive, that they only issued 2.45 walks per 9 innings pitched, which was number 1 in Division I baseball. And then even more impressive, I should say, they were number 1 in Division I baseball, only allowing oppositions to have 6.23 hits per 9 innings, which is really great. Number 1 there. So they were number 1 in a lot of categories, a lot of important pitching and hitting categories. So that's why I got them winning I got Tennessee winning the Knoxville Regional. Although, as I say that, I do like Campbell to make some noise in the Knoxville Regional. Zach Nedo is an all-American shortstop for Campbell who can pitch as well. He had a save earlier in the year against NC State on March 2nd when NC State was top 10 in the country, around the time Northeastern ended up sweeping NC State. Nedo has been perfect at the plate, though. In 51 games, hitting .405, 1.288 OPS. Also smoked 15 home runs, drove in 49 runs, and also stole 17 of 18 stolen bases and 18 stolen base attempts. And is a 5.14 OBP. So very prolific player. I'd imagine he's got to be a first-round pick whenever his time is coming for the MLB draft. And then pitcher Cade Keeler pitched in the Big South semifinals game against Gardner-Webb, and then the following day in the Big South finals game, he came in to get 2 outs in the 7th inning, facing bases loaded. Campbell's only up by 1 run with 1 out, and he got a double play to get out of it, to get Campbell out of it. Actually, Campbell ended up winning that game. He has 3 straight starts, going 6 innings or more, with 10 strikeouts in each one. So I'm psyched to see Campbell go to work in this tournament. They're a very dangerous team, in my opinion. And Campbell also ranks 7th. This is a very interesting statistic. 7th in NCAA baseball with 111 home runs. So it just shows how much power this team has. So I'm sure opposing pitchers are not psyched about facing this Campbell lineup, especially with Zach Nedo being in there, hitting .405 with 15 home runs and a 1.288 OPS. Moving on to the Statesboro Regional, I got Georgia Southern winning here. They were 40 and 18 in the regular season. A couple guys I want to highlight. Junior infielder Noah Ledford led the Georgia Southern Eagles this year with 16 home runs. Also hit in 69 runs, hit .333, and led the team with the 167 OPS. Sophomore Ty Fisher has been their ace on the mound, holding a team best 2.87 ERA on the year, 5.2 record with 54 strikeouts and 78.1 innings pitched. Georgia Southern was swept and smoked at Tennessee in 3 straight games to start this season. They were outscored 33-3 in those 3 games, but they've come a long way since. And if my predictions were to be right, it would be Tennessee versus Georgia Southern in the Super Regional matchup. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, it'd be a very high-powered matchup, but I'm sure Georgia Southern would love to get some payback after getting blown out at Tennessee 3 games to start this season. So some important opponents this season that I want to highlight for this Georgia Southern team. They took 2 or 3 games against Texas State when they were ranked number 10 in the country earlier this season. They took 1 of 3 against Georgia when they were ranked number 20 in the country. In 2 of those 3 games, they were ranked number 20 in the country. They faced Georgia 3 different times. They were number 23 in the other game when they faced Georgia. But took 1 of 3 against Georgia, split with Kennesaw State, who I really like. And I'm going to get to them in a few minutes. I really like Kennesaw State to make noise in this bracket. They split with Kennesaw State. Georgia Southern split with Kennesaw State. Lost 6-5 in extra innings this year against Florida State. And then also beat the CAA regular season champion in the College of Charleston. So Georgia Southern can clearly play. I don't think they have enough to beat Tennessee, though, considering Tennessee blew them out 3 straight games to start the year. But I would love to see them get a chance at payback just to show Tennessee what's up after they were blown out 3 times. I don't think they can do it. I don't think they can beat Tennessee. But, I'd be rooting for the underdog in that matchup. Anyways, in the Austin Regional, I know a lot of people probably have Texas here. I have Dallas Baptist winning this regional. I think they're a very underrated team, maybe the most underrated team in the whole tournament if they can play up to their ability. Especially the ability I think they can play. Junior infielder and / catcher. He's a utility guy. Cole Moore hit .354 this year for Dallas Baptist. Smoked 11 home runs. Has a 108.2 OPS on the year. Jace Grady hit .314. Swiped 25 bags in 27 attempts. Hit 10 home runs. And also has a 936 OPS. Dallas Baptist as a team hit 86 home runs this year, so it just shows how much power this team has. I think pitching could be their issue maybe, but the funny thing is I say that is their pitching pitched very well in games against their biggest opponents. Their team holds a 5.07 ERA among the pitching staff, but in big games this year, their pitching staff came up big, so I'll highlight some important games for them. They lost 2 times this season to Texas Tech. One time being by 1 run in 10 innings. They took 2 of 3 games versus San Diego, split 1 game in 1 game against Oklahoma, so went 1-1 against Oklahoma this year. Had a 3-game sweep of Southern Mississippi in March, and then lost 5-4 to Oklahoma State at one point earlier in the season, but then ended up beating Oklahoma State 8-7 in May. Had a 3-game sweep of Oral Roberts, took 2 of 3 against Maryland. Beat Louisiana Tech this year, took 2 games against TCU, and then also lost 1 game to Texas A&M. But against tournament teams at 15-7, so it just shows that Dallas Baptist can play very big opponents and succeed. In a couple pitches I want to highlight, sophomore reliever Zane Russell holds a 1.69 ERA in 22 appearances, struck out 45 guys in 26.2 innings, so almost 2 for every single inning, which is really impressive. And then junior right-handed pitcher Bubba Hall has made the most appearances on the team, 26 appearances on the year, holds a 3.88 ERA, holding opponent batters to a 180 batting average. So I'm excited to see Dallas Baptist compete. I think they end up winning this Austin Regional. I think Texas, very good team. They are the 9th seed overall, but I like an underdog here. I like Dallas Baptist, so I'm going to go with them. In the Greenville Regional, I have Coastal Carolina winning. They actually won the College World Series in 2016. They beat a ranked CMU team, Central Michigan team, to start this season. They did lose 3 very close games at Chapel Hill against UNC. They split 2 games versus Wake Forest. They beat Clemson when Clemson was number 20 in the country. They beat Clemson 16-7 at that game, in that game. And then at the end of the season, when they played Clemson again, when things started to fall apart for Clemson, Coastal Carolina defeated them 17-2. And then Coastal Carolina took 1 of 3 games against Texas State. So it just shows that they can play great teams and win games. They also took 2 of 3 games against Georgia Southern, all very close games at the end of April, and then also took 2 games against the CAA regular season champion and number 1 seed in the CAA tournament, the College of Charleston. So they are coming off a tough performance in the Sun Belt Conference tournament. They lost the number 6 seed in that tourney, Troy. So we'll have to see how they perform and respond in this bracket. But I think they can win this. I know they're the 3 seeds. That would be 2 straight brackets, the Austin Regional, the Greenville Regional. I have the number 3 seed winning both of those. But I'll say this. One guy I want to highlight, Tywin Johnson, hit 17 home runs this year, hitting .366 with a 1.242 OPS on the season. If they were to make noise in this bracket, it would be him. He'd be a big reason for Coastal Carolina to make a run. Coastal Carolina hit 72 home runs as a team and hold a team ERA of 4.77. So they have some power, have some pitching, so that's why I think they can compete. That's why they're my pick for the Greenville Regional. So for the College Station Regional, I have Texas A&M winning this. Texas A&M had a great season, going 37-18. They hold the 5th overall seed in this bracket. They took 2 of 3 games against Vanderbilt when Vanderbilt was number 22 in the country. Took 2 of 3 games against number 3 Arkansas when they played Arkansas in April. Took 2 of 3 games against number 10 Georgia in April as well. They beat Texas at the end of March on the road when Texas was number 8 in the country. Took 2 of 3 games against LSU in March when LSU was number 8 in the country. And they also beat Florida in the first game of the SEC tournament 10-0. They ended up losing to Florida when they faced again in the SEC tournament 9-0. But Texas A&M will be a tough out in this tournament. I think Louisville ends up beating them in that Super Regional, which I'll get to Louisville in a second. But I think that'll be a great matchup. Couple guys I want to highlight. The Aggies have been led by Dylan Rock, who smoked 17 home runs on the year, hitting .326. He also stole 16 bags in 21 attempts, so he has speed too. Jack Moss was first on the team in batting average, hitting .373. Micah Dallas has been their number one on the mound, but does not have the flashiest numbers. 5.64 ERA, but has a 78 strikeout to 18 walk ratio, 78 to 18 ratio in 67 innings, which is great. So Texas A&M will be facing Oral Roberts in their first game of the regional. Shout out Oral Roberts for their run in March Madness 2 March Madness tournaments ago. They were unreal in that tourney. Shout out to Mike Hurley, the sports guru, for predicting that. The kid knows his stuff. So I got Texas A&M winning the College Station regional. Moving on to the Louisville Regional. I think Louisville wins this regional rather easy. I saw them play this year at BC, and they can absolutely rake. Cameron Masterman hit one of the furthest home runs you'll see at BC. He hit .362 with 6 home runs in ACC play. .288 overall on the season with 15 home runs. And then sophomore catcher Jack Payton hit .361 on the year with 4 home runs and a .960 OPS. One thing about Louisville is they always have great catchers who can play great defense and also have great offensive numbers. Last year they had the number 1 overall pick in the MLB draft. Henry Davis was a catcher. They always have great catchers, as I said. So Jack Payton, I guess, is just another one of them. Dalton Rushing hit .308 on the year for the Cardinals with 21 home runs. The Jared Poland had the best ERA among starters on the Cardinals with a .292 ERA, 91 strikeouts in 74 innings. So Louisville has the power and has the pitching. They were 12th in the NCAA with 8.7 runs per game. They were 11th in Division I baseball with 495 runs scored. Louisville doesn't have as much speed as other teams, though. They only have 38 stolen bases as a team. But they make up for that with their power and their ability to score runs. As I said, 11th in runs and 12th in runs per game. So they're going to score a lot of runs. I see them winning this regional against Southeast Missouri State. I think they win that game pretty easily, and then they'd face Michigan and Oregon. It is also double elimination, but I don't see them needing an extra game. Anyways, in the Greenville Regional, I have Oklahoma winning this. They're the number 2 seed. I think it comes down to Oklahoma and Central Michigan. The Chippewas were 5th in Division I baseball this year. Central Michigan and Chippewas were 5th in Division I baseball this year with 343 walks drawn. So they're very patient at the plate, and it really comes down to pitching at the end of the day. So if there's bad pitching against them that aren't throwing strikes, this team's not going to swing. They're going to get extra guys on base, have more chances to score, more guys in scoring position. So we'll see how they play. They were 5th in Division I baseball in pitching shutouts. They had 7 shutouts. And also Central Michigan won the Mid-American Conference Tournament. I'm a big MAC football fan, big Central Michigan football fan, as I'm a Kent State fan. I love the MAC Conference of football. So I'll be covering that a ton in the fall. Road Chips. Their baseball team is ranked 16, actually, in the first 2 weeks of the season this year. So it shows they have what it takes to win. It shows the College Baseball Committee values how good of a team they are when they compete at their highest level. So I'm rooting for them to do well in the bracket, but I think Oklahoma is the best team here. Florida did finish second in the SEC championship. A good team, but I favor Oklahoma's offense in this regional. For the Sooners, redshirt sophomore shortstop Payton Graham has been stellar at the plate. He's a recipient of the Big 12 tournament most outstanding player. He had 16 home runs this year out of the 2 spot in the lineup. Has 30 stolen bases in 32 attempts, so he has a ton of speed. It also drove in 60 runs and is hitting .339 overall. So it just shows how great of a lineup this Oklahoma team has. He's the only Sooner, though, with double-digit home runs. So I guess a lot of the guys just get on base, not too many power hitters. Tanner Treadaway hit .359, drove in 55 runs, and also had 23 stolen bases for Oklahoma. Oklahoma has a team ERA of 5.53. Jake Bennett, 6'6", left-handed pitcher, holds the best ERA among starters for the Sooners. Holds a 7-3 record overall, 3.6 ERA, 103 strikeouts to 18 walks, and 90 innings pitched. Moving on to Blacksburg Regional. I got Virginia Tech winning this regional, so I'm another number 1 seed winning. I have Virginia Tech, Louisville, Texas A&M, Georgia Southern, Tennessee. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 8 teams on the left side winning. So 5 of 8 number 1 seeds on the left side of the bracket winning their regional. So in this regional, the Blacksburg Regional, as I said, I got Virginia Tech. They were 16th in Division I baseball with 8.4 runs per game on average. Sophomore phenom outfielder Jack Hurley had a hit in 47 of 52 games this year. Hit 379 on the year with the 1.150 OPS. Hit 13 home runs. 461 on base percentage, stole 10 bags as well. Virginia Tech as a team could hit home runs. They had 110 as a team, makes them very, very dangerous in this tournament. And their pitching staff holds a 4.19 ERA. Virginia Tech finished 19-9 in the ACC. They were led by Drew Hackenberg on the mound. He led starters in ERA with the 2.83 ERA. Very accurate pitcher, 80 strikeouts to 15 walks and 86 innings pitched. They took 2 of 3 games against UNC, Miami, and NC State this year. Took 2 of 3 against Louisville as well at the end of the regular season. But in my bracket, they would face in the College World Series, I believe, Louisville and Virginia Tech. But I think Louisville gets the better of them this time in this 3-game series. Louisville lost 6-4 and 4-3 in the 2 games they lost this year to Virginia Tech. They won 8-1 in the other game. So I think the Cardinals can do it. I got Louisville beating them in the College World Series. Anyways, moving on to the right side of the bracket, top right side of the bracket, I got Stanford winning the Stanford Regional. Stanford coming into the tournament, they're coming off a Pac-12 championship win, along with winning 17 straight games, to finish the season 41-14. Junior infielder Brett Barrera has been electric at the plate for the Cardinals. He's been hitting .366 with a 1.024 OPS. Hit 10 home runs as well. Stanford has 6 batters with double-digit home runs on the season. So it just shows there's just not one guy in this lineup that you have to say, let's avoid this guy. There's 6 guys with double-digit home runs. So you can't pitch around guys in this lineup. You can't just say, the 2 hitters up. Let's walk and let's face the 3. There's so many guys in this lineup that can hit home runs. That's what makes this Stanford team very dangerous. Carter Graham has been hitting .342 in the year with 20 home runs, 70 runs batted in, 1.073 OPS. Junior catcher Cody Huff has great power as well, 11 home runs, hitting .312. Outfielder / right-handed pitcher Braden Montgomery is second on the Stanford squad with 16 home runs, 49 runs batted in. He also has 2 saves on the mound, holding opposing batters to a 1.89 batting average. Has a 5.29 ERA. His issue has been walks, 18 walks and 17 innings pitched. Stanford as a team has hit 95 home runs and only allowed 23. So this team can hit home runs and can pitch extremely well, both of which at an elite level. They hold a 3.82 ERA as a pitching staff, which is 8th in Division I baseball. So I think they win the Standard Regional rather easy. Moving on to the College Park Regional, I have Maryland winning this, so another number 1 seed here. Maryland finished the regular season 45-12. They're the number 15 overall seed in this bracket. They finished 3rd in NCAA in home runs with 123. They were 7th in NCAA baseball with a 9.1 runs per game average. They really can just hit. They have a ton of guys that can swing the bat. 50th senior Chris Aline, first-team All-American, had an exceptional season, hitting .346 with a 1.131 OPS. He hit 22 home runs, drove in 75 runs, and also has 23 stolen bases in 26 attempts. I'm sure he'll be drafted rather high, considering I know he's a 50th senior, so he's a little bit older. I know the MLB draft typically likes to draft younger guys, but you can't deny his abilities. .346 batting average, 22 home runs, 23 stolen bases, 75 runs batted in. I'm excited to see where he goes in this upcoming MLB draft. Sophomore infielder from Brimfield, Massachusetts, Matt Shaw. So he's a Massachusetts native, Brimfield, Mass. Matt Shaw hit .294 this season with 21 home runs, 63 runs batted in with a 1.018 OPS. Maryland as a team hit .307 with a 9.75 OPS, which is unreal. So it just shows this team has the offense to win it. And then they have left-handed pitcher Ryan Ramsey, has the best record on the mound, 10-1 record with a 3.49 ERA. So I got Maryland winning this regional. Moving on to the Chapel Hill Regional, I have UNC winning this regional. They won the ACC tournament, finished the ACC this year with a 15-15 record. did win the ACC tournament, though. All 12 teams in the ACC tournament were over 500 on the season. BC and Duke were the only two teams that didn't make the ACC tourney. They were well under 500 both. But it was a very competitive tournament. And UNC won it, so I'm just going to roll with them to stay hot. Junior shortstop Danny Soretti has been hot all year, hitting .366 with the 1.005 OPS, 8 home runs as well, with a .443 on base percentage. UNC as a team has hit 91 home runs, so very impressive. Just shows this Tar Heels offense can hit. Sophomore pitcher Max Carlson has a .361 ERA, 84 strikeouts and 72 innings pitched. And in the ACC tournament, Brandon Schaefer threw a complete game shutout versus Virginia Tech. 9 innings pitched, 6 strikeouts, 6 hits allowed, no runs allowed, no walks thrown. He finished the year with a 7.2 record and a .37 ERA, so keep your eye on him. In the Stillwater Regional, I know Oklahoma State's the 1 seed here. I have Arkansas, the Razorbacks, the number 2 seed, winning this regional. They finished their regular season 38-18. They have the pitching to win, though. And I think that's what is going to be huge in this tournament. Who has the pitching? They allowed only 7.5 hits per 9 innings pitched, which was 4th in Division I baseball. Hold a team ERA of .392, which is 8th in Division I baseball. And then also they have the offense that can win you games. Hit 88 home runs as a team, so they can clearly score runs. Couple guys I want to highlight. Chris Lanzilli hit .317 on the year with 7 home runs. Caden Wallace hit 13 home runs, hit .299, so just under 300, stole 10 bags as well. And then Chris Noland pitched and had the best ERA on the team with a .386 ERA, a 6-5 record to go along with 99 strikeouts and 30 walks in 93 innings pitched, 93 and a third innings pitched. Moving on to the Coral Gables Regional. I got Miami winning this regional, so a 1 seed, 39-18 on the year. They finished 20-10 in ACC play, which is elite, considering the ACC is very competitive. As I just said, there were only 2 teams in the ACC under 500, so a lot of good teams in the ACC. CJ Kafis had the best average on the team, hitting .369, had a .465 on base percentage, stole 16 bags. Jacob Burke, Yohandy Morales, and Maxwell Romero are the power hitters on this team from Miami. For the Hurricanes, each one of them hit respectively 12, 14, and 12 home runs in order. So Burke had 12 home runs, Morales had 14 home runs, and Romero had 12 home runs. They lost 16-2, though, to Wake Forest in the ACC tournament, which is the reason I see Kennesaw State beating them in that super regional, which I'm going to get into to Kennesaw State in a second, but I have Kennesaw State beating them in the next round. Since Wake Forest beat them 16-2, I think Kennesaw State can score a ton of runs and they can pitch, which Wake Forest can do both. So, but as I said, though, I have Miami winning this regional. Miami's 2-6 though in their last 8 games, which just makes it a shaky pick. To have them even winning their own region, considering Arizona's in, and Arizona had a great season. Ole Miss as well. Ole Miss was number 1, actually, at one point earlier this season. So we'll see how it goes. I think Ole Miss is a very underrated pick here, considering they were number 1 earlier this season at one point. Moving on to the Hattiesburg Regional, I get Kennesaw State winning this regional. I see them giving everyone trouble. They split this year, 1-1 in 2-game series with Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech was number 10 at the time. I watched the second game of that series on the ACC Network. The great John Beda Perel was on the call in that game. Kennesaw State was up 1-0 to start the game after center fielder Josh Hatcher hit a leadoff home run on the first pitch of the game. Hatcher had a great season out of the leadoff spot, hitting .386 with a 1.092 OPS. 13 home runs to go along with 55 RBIs. He was 4 of 6 in that game, was Hatcher. Hatcher was 4 of 6 in that game with 2 RBIs. Also drove in 2 runs in that game against Georgia Tech. Senior infielder Tyler Simon was 4 of 6 in that game against Georgia Tech with 4 runs scored from the second spot in the lineup. He finished the year hitting .319. So as I said, this Kennesaw State team can hit. They hit .301 as a team. On the year, hit 67 home runs, with 9th in Division I baseball, actually, with 641 hits. They can spray the ball around, so that's why I got them being a very big underdog. Being the number 3 seed, I have them beating winning this bracket, the Southern Mississippi bracket. I have them winning it. So a couple opponents I wanted to highlight for Kennesaw State this year. They lost 17-15 in a high-scoring game to Georgia when Georgia was number 10 in the country. They split their season series 1-1 with Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern is hosting a regional, the number 16 overall seed. So they beat them one game. It just shows they can beat anyone on any day. And they can score runs as well. This team, the team that's hosting the regional here is Southern Mississippi, as I said. They pitch very well as a team, hold the best strikeout to walk ratio in Division I baseball with the 4.39 strikeouts per walk, and also hold the second best college baseball pitching staff ERA with a 3.16 team ERA. So they'll be a tough out. I think it does come down to Kennesaw State and Southern Mississippi. I'm going to give Kennesaw State the edge here since I like them, so I guess it's a bias here. But if I were to be betting, I'm still going Kennesaw State, I guess. I do like this team a lot and how hard they play. I only watched them play one game, but I followed them a little bit after that, and they've had a great season. Finished the season with a record of 35-26, so 9 games over 500, but this team can hit, as I said. So moving on to the Auburn Regional. This is a tough pick for me here. I'm between Florida State and Auburn. I'll break down some numbers here for you, and then, I'll make a pick in a second. But Florida State finished the year 14th in Division I baseball, allowing 7.92 hits per 9 innings. So they clearly have the pitching to win. They finished number 1 in Division I baseball with 12 strikeouts per 9 innings pitched. So not only do they get outs, but they get strikeouts. Don't even let you put balls in play. They were third in strikeout to walk ratio with 3.63 strikeouts per walk. They finished 15-15 in the ACC play, so 500. But as I pointed out before, the ACC is very good at baseball. 12 or 14 teams finish over 500. So being 15-15 in the ACC is really impressive. They did get swept, though, by UNC to end the regular season. Very tough way to finish. They were uncompetitive in those games, too. Lost by a combined score of 28-9. So it would be tough for them to win the Auburn region, considering they finished the regular season on such a bad note. But they do have the pitching staff to win. They did lose 1 out of 3 games in both of their series against BC and Duke, the 2 worst teams in the ACC. 2 teams who didn't even qualify to make the ACC tournament, and were well under 500 on the season. So it shows they can have off days. That's what makes me worry about Florida State. As for Auburn, they took 2 of 3 games against Texas A&M this year, took 2 of 3 games against LSU, took 2 of 3 against Vanderbilt, 1 of 3 against Tennessee, when Tennessee was number 1 in the country, as they still are. And they also beat Ole Miss when they were number 1 in the country earlier this year. And took 1 of 3 against Arkansas when Arkansas was number 3 in the country. So it shows this team at Auburn can play. They did lose to Kentucky in the first game of the SEC tournament. Had a shaky game there. Didn't have much to play for, though. The SEC tournament. They didn't have much to play for there, though. They were 1-3 in their last 4 games, all those to Kentucky. And finished SEC play 16-13. The SEC, in my opinion, is the most competitive and best division this year in college baseball, best conference. So being 16-13 is actually impressive. Who do I have winning here? That's a good question. I don't know. I'm going to go Auburn. I'll go Auburn here. But I was close to going Florida State. I think Florida State does make noise. I think it comes down to Florida State, Auburn. But I'll roll with Auburn here. Moving on to the Corvallis Regional. I have Vanderbilt winning this regional. Vandy won the College World Series. They're no stranger to the College World Series. They won it in 2019 with a runner-up in 2021 last season. They've won their regional in 4 straight NCAA Tournament appearances, so they're no stranger to the big stage. They've gone to the College World Series in 2 straight NCAA appearances in 2019 and 2021. As for some statistics, they are 3rd in Division I baseball, allowing 7.37 hits per 9 innings pitched. They have 10 shutouts on the season, which is 1st in Division I baseball. Dominic Keegan, a hitter I want to highlight. I'll highlight another one, too. Dominic Keegan had a fantastic year at the plate, hitting .367 with 13 home runs, 59 RBIs. Spencer Jones hit .360, had 9 dingers to go along with a .452 on-base percentage, which was best among starters on the team. For pitching, the pitching staff was led by left-handed pitcher Carter Holton, who was lead of the mound all year, held the 3.14 ERA, had an 8.4 win-loss record, also had 97 strikeouts and 80.1 innings pitched. Holton also held a 192 held opponents to a 192 a batting average, and also pitched 2 complete games this year. So it shows he can help the bullpen out by going a full 9 innings. The team at Vanderbilt did finish under 500 this year in the SEC 14-16. But as I said, I think the SEC is the best conference in Division I baseball. And considering Vanderbilt has won 4 straight regionals in 4 straight tournaments they appeared in, I think they win this tournament, this regional in this tournament. Oregon State, though, is the number 1 seed in this part of the bracket, in this regional with Vanderbilt. I think Oregon State's a little overrated, the number 3 seed overall in the tournament, but they choked heavily in that Pac-12 game against UCLA, which I highlighted earlier in this episode. They end up facing UCLA again right after that and won 8-7. But that's a tough game to throw away, being up 9 runs in the 9th inning and not being able to close out, giving up 25 runs to UCLA. I don't see Oregon State winning this region. I think Vanderbilt gives them a run for their money here. Although, I mean, here's the thing. Vanderbilt could lose again to San Diego. I mean, I don't think Vanderbilt's unreal, since I would have Auburn beating either Oregon State or Vanderbilt, no matter who I choose here. But if I had to pick a team in this, I'd take Vanderbilt. Oregon State finished 1-3 against Stanford on the year with a couple close losses. One of them being a 1-0 loss in 10 innings. They were 20-10 in the Pac-12, very competitive conference. As I said, though, I think it's tough. After seeing Oregon State blow that game against UCLA, I don't know if you can really trust their pitching in a close game. Vandy's, I think you can trust a little more. That's why I'll lean towards Vandy here. Oregon State, as I said, finished 1-3 against Stanford on the year. As for some statistics, junior utility player Jacob Melton is a guy to keep your eye on. He had 375 on the season, had 15 dingers to go along with 77 RBIs, was 20 of 21 in stolen base attempts as well. So he has speed and can definitely make a big play in a big moment for this Oregon State team if they were to make a big run. So in the Super Regional between Tennessee and Georgia Southern in the top left part of the bracket, I get Tennessee winning. And then I get Dallas Baptist versus Coastal Carolina in that next regional, Super Regional. I have Dallas Baptist winning that. In the next Super Regional between Texas A&M and Louisville, I got Louisville winning. And in that following Super Regional between Oklahoma and Virginia Tech, I have Virginia Tech. In the top right Super Regional between Stanford and Maryland, I got Stanford winning this. I think UConn's a team to keep your eye on. They had a very good year. Were ranked number 15 at one point, or number 13 at one point. Northeastern beat them at the end of the season. But I think UConn's a team to keep your eye on. I think Maryland still wins that regional. But I think UConn makes some noise. UConn can make some noise. I'll be rooting for them, since they're really the only local team in the whole tournament. Anyways, I have Stanford over Maryland in that Super Regional. In the UNC Arkansas Super Regional, I have Arkansas winning. I have Miami versus Kennesaw State in that next Super Regional. I have Kennesaw State winning that. I think Kennesaw State's going to make a big run in this tournament. And then Florida State, Auburn. Auburn's the team I end up choosing. Auburn versus Vanderbilt in that next Super Regional. I have Auburn winning. And then Auburn versus Kennesaw State. Tough pick there. I'm going to go Auburn. That would be the first matchup of the College World Series. So I'll have Auburn over Kennesaw State to be one of the Final Four teams. And then Stanford versus Arkansas, the other College World Series matchup in the top right. I have Stanford winning that. Now in the top left, I have Tennessee versus Dallas Baptist in the College World Series. I have Tennessee winning that game. And then I have Louisville versus Virginia Tech in the College World Series as well. I have Louisville winning that. So my Final Four is Tennessee versus Louisville. Then I have Stanford versus Florida. Stanford versus Auburn. Stanford versus Auburn. And so I'll probably go Tennessee over Louisville, which I like Louisville a lot. I think they can make noise. I like Louisville, as I said, but I'm going to go Tennessee over Louisville. I'll go Stanford over Auburn. This is tough. I don't know. This is a tough pick here going, between Tennessee and Stanford. I like both teams a ton. Stanford, finished the year 40-14. Tennessee, 53-7. They're both the number 1 and number 2 overall seeds, so it'd be a very high-powered matchup. I'm sure a lot of people would tune in, too, considering how good both of these teams are. If I had to pick, I just think Tennessee's way too dominant this year. I just feel like it's their year. I'm going to go with Tennessee to win this and win the College World Series. But I think it's a tough pick, considering how good Stanford is as well. And then, I mean, yeah, it's tough. It's hard. I'll roll I'll stay with Tennessee. I mean, I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, oh, should I flip back to Stanford? I'm going to stay with Tennessee. I got Tennessee winning the College World Series. I know everyone probably does for the most part, just because how good they are, but it's tough to bet against them, really. You know, the guys throwing 105, have such great pitching, such great hitting, as I already highlighted in this preview. So we'll see how it ends up. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope you guys get to enjoy. I think it's going to be nice this weekend. I hope you guys get to enjoy the nice weather. Anyways, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this. I really appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to see how these regional games end up. I'll probably be back on one day early next week to break down all the regionals. Talk about the Celtics as well. The Celtics had a huge win in Game 1 over the Warriors, which was huge. I got the Oilers as well. I have the Oilers winning that series. The Oilers are down right now in the series 2-0, unfortunately. So we'll see how that goes. They play tomorrow in Game 3. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good one. Take it easy, stay safe, and stay well. Thank you.